For sure. So Matt's idea there is he says that fear and anger gives bad advice. So the fundamental idea is that you got to notice when you're in a state of fear or anger. So that step one is quite tricky actually, because often we don't understand what our own feelings are. Once you notice you're in that state, you've got to do the opposite of what you feel like doing. So, for example, if you're really afraid to confront a particular issue in your business, it's just too overwhelming. It just makes you too anxious. You don't want to even approach it. The normal approach would be to procrastinate and steer far away from that issue. The opposite of that would be to engage deeply with that issue, to dive into it, to grapple with it. Obviously, the better decision. The anger one is a colleague lets you down or does something that you don't like. You furious with them. You want to give them a hard time and tell them how much they've disappointed you. Matt's advice is you should do the opposite. You should be really kind to them and try and understand where they're coming from and figure it out. And so it might sound like it's going to turn you into like a real softie and you're never going to get anything done. But in fact, my experience is the outcome is exactly the opposite, because the game is really about staying engaged as a startup CEO. Like the worst thing that can happen is that you get disengaged from the people around you, from your business, from the fundamental problems in your business, from the fundamental challenges in your market. And when you always do the opposite of fear and anger, you just get more and more engaged with your people, with the market, with your customers, and you just get into that constant loop of iteration. And it's really, really powerful. So it's deceptively simple advice. It sounds almost weird, like do the opposite. Uh, when you fearful, approach. When you're angry, be kind. But it just engages that creative sort of top part of your brain, and it keeps you moving and engaged all the time, as opposed to getting lost in emotions. So when you're a founder CEO, you're building this business. A lot of the time, you don't know what's going on. There's a lot of uncertainty. There's a lot of doubt. There's a lot of things that don't go right. In fact, 99% of the time, things don't go right. And if you allow yourself to be sucked into those emotions, then you're out. That's sort of, not only does it damage your business, also going to damage your mental health, depression, anxiety, all those sorts of things. It's going to hurt your team by extension. It's going to hurt the whole organization. So that fundamental advice from Matt of fear and anger give bad advice, it's so profound. It sounds simple on the outside, but it's something that you can apply in every single moment of every day. And my experiences just yields a massive amount of movement and momentum, and just it's more fun as well. You're working like your 12, 14-hour days or whatever. Much more fun to be in a creative mindset than afraid and angry the whole time, which is the default state. Because that's what happens when you're a human animal and you're uncertain and you not getting what you want. The default is I'm afraid and I'm pissed off. And if you can get out of that default and activate the creative uh, part of your brain, then you can solve problems and build your business and take things forward. So yeah, I love that advice from Matt. That alone is worth, something you can play with for 10, 20 years. But there's like 100 of those gems in Matt's teachings.